the state of perpetual fear and war on terror and terrorists that aren't really there is part of their plan to keep us in control. And it's something that I think that with your videos, and if people just did the research themselves, they could find that we don't have to put up with it. Non-compliance.
Absolutely. Non-compliance is really the only thing I see that is going to work. I mean, you're never going to be able to wage a war against these people. That's some pretty powerful weapons, but simple non-compliance. People simply understanding the connection that they've got with each other and not complying with the control and not complying with the fear, because a lot of it is fear. That's what they do. And you're absolutely right. They do know all about this energy and how to work it. This is very, very ancient knowledge. This is known by many, many ancient cultures way back through to ancient Egypt. They knew all about how this works. And these people who are in control of the planet at the moment are very, very clever to keep us locked into this perpetual state of fear, so that we are always in a low vibrational state, and they use our energy to create the reality that they want. And we just sort of go along with it because of what we're taught, what we believe to be real, what we're fed by our media, what we're fed by our educational institutions. And very, very few people ever take the time to sit down and research things for themselves. They just repeat what's in textbooks, and they think, well, I can repeat what's in the book now, I must be informed. But really, they need to go out and they need to look at these things for themselves and look at what some of these ancient cultures were saying. And you'll find this is why we went to such extraordinary lengths to wipe out all of these ancient cultures. Well, the powers that be did anyway. I mean, some of the ancient tribes and ancient cultures that have been incredibly decimated by the powers that be, this is why they've done it, because they really, really wanted to keep this information away from the people. And for a lot of religious people, I also believe that this is a lot of what the message of Christ was. This is why they had the Nicene Council in the 4th century, and they chose to leave 45 very important books out of the Bible because it contained this message. And I think that's something that people seriously need to look at as well.
Right, because, our God, if you will, is a loving God, and He would gladly keep us informed of how to empower ourselves. And I do know, and I have heard that there are many books of the Bible that have been left out, and kept the books which led the people to be more subservient to the priesthood and less to themselves and God's power.
Very much, very much. People really do need to look at that. I often say to people, simply read the words of Christ. Don't worry about what the Bible is telling you, or what the priesthood is telling you, or what the church is telling you. Read the words of Christ and look what Christ was telling you, because ultimately that's what it comes down to. That's the important message that's contained within the Bible, and that's the message that you really should be looking at. And I'm not particularly religious myself, but a lot of people are, and I think that they should look a little deeper and look at the true message that this wonderful person was giving to the world, because a lot of that message has been lost in the teachings of the church, and I don't tend to trust churches just because of their track record, what they've done. I believe that any church that purely was in Christ consciousness, for example, wouldn't allow homeless people in their area. They wouldn't allow anyone to be starving in their area. They wouldn't allow a lot of the things that we do find in any particular parish. And I think that that's something that people seriously need to look at as well. It's just a good indication to me anyway. These people don't really follow the path that they're saying they do. And they tend to, as you say, they've used religion to create a subservient society rather than a spiritually empowered society. And I think that is the true message that the people were meant to have, that's been taken from them. I think they've been very clever the way they've done that as well.
Absolutely. And, I really do love the work of also Jordan Maxwell. And he talks a lot about...
Yeah, Jordan Maxwell's done some wonderful work.
Oh, yeah.
He's done some wonderful work. The work of Greg Braden, I would also recommend a lot of people look into the work of Greg Braden. I've got a couple of playlists on my website there that you can look at. And he's done some fabulous work, because he's one of the few scientists that have bridged the gap between science and spirituality. I think that's a very, very important bridge to be crossed.
That's an excellent point. Yeah, well, he mentions how a lot of the religions today have to do with astrotheology and the stars and worshiping of symbols and icons and keeping people away from the power.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, a lot of the New Age movement is also based in that sort of a mindset. New Age movement has been very clever. It's so close to the truth, but it leads people away from what the real truth is. And it's very, very hard not to crack with a lot of these people as well, because they are so intent on not looking at anything negative, which means not addressing any of the problems that we face. A lot of people seem to think that if they don't look at anything negative, it'll just go away. I think the New Age movement's been going for about 40 years now, and the problems really don't seem to be going away. It's
not working, right. Well, when we talk about global non-compliance, that sounds like one of our best plans here, and to kind of help our listeners, some points on what's a good way to not comply. I know, of course, opting out of the big banking system is one. You have some more.
Oh yeah, definitely opting out of the big banking system. Growing your own food. It's very important to try to get hold of some heritage seeds and to start growing your own gardens. This is I can't stress the importance of this enough. Getting fluoride out of your diet and simply doing what's right in all that you do. Stepping away from the fear. Non-compliance with the fear. Non-compliance with this whole corporate system. Don't go to wars. I mean, all of these wars are fought for banking institutions. There hasn't been a war fought in the last 100 years that was actually based on the reasons that we were told that it was based on. All of these wars are contrived. They're all to do with supporting the banking system. Usually it's just a corporate takeover of another country, because all of our Western governments are in fact corporations. And this is a lot of how it works. Start doing the right thing in all that you do by everybody. Start having town meetings and addressing things on a grassroots level. And when they bring in laws like HR 875, understand that these aren't laws. These are statutes. You don't have to do this. You only have to do this because you agree to do this. This is just a bunch of guys putting on a suit, writing something on a piece of paper with a little letterhead, and then they say jump, and everybody says how high. Well, we don't have to do that. We can say, no, that's you serve us. You need to know your place in the hierarchy. You are the elected servants of the people. So we don't have to do what you say. You have to do what we say. You can even go to the extent of writing out people's mandates, I believe. We the people mandate the following, blah, blah, blah. You have 30 days to comply. I really believe that this is the way it needs to be done. Peaceful non-compliance. A simple case of, no sir, we won't do this anymore. We wish to do what's right. We wish to help our neighbours. We wish to do what is right. And if laws are put in place that affect the rights of the people and affect the freedom of the people, then I believe these laws should be just disregarded. And not only should they be disregarded, the people who attempted to enact them should be held accountable for their actions. I really believe that this needs to be done. It needs to be done on a grassroots level. It all starts with the individual. Be the change you wish to see in the world, as Gandhi said. I think it's very important for people to understand that it all starts at home and understand the power that they have. People really, really do have power to affect change if they just become aware of that power and they start addressing things and taking the bull by the horns. And I'm not calling for any violence. I'm not calling for the overthrow of any people or anything like that. I'm simply calling for people to realise the connection that they have. Realise that there is no division among people. All of the social structures that we've been given, race and class division and all this sort of stuff. I've got more trinkets than you, therefore I'm a better person than you. I mean, it's absurd. It's absolutely absurd. These are just trinkets. They don't mean anything. What is important is living in the heart and operating in the heart and doing things from the heart. I really believe that's how the whole thing changes, because we've been taught not to do things from our heart. We've been taught to do things for a level of personal benefit. What can I gain by doing this? But instead of thinking, what can I gain, what is right for me, do what is right. Not just what is right for you, but do what is actually right. That to me is a big part of non-compliance, because this whole system has been designed to keep you in a state of fear and to keep you in a state of self-service. And that is the biggest part of non-compliance. Don't comply with the fear, and don't base yourself in self-service, base yourself in unconditional love. Do what's right. Do what's right in all that you do. Understand that you can't hate these people that are doing this. They're doing it because we're letting them do it. So who's really to blame here? I think that we, the people, are really to blame. If anyone's to blame, well, we're not actually to blame, but we're certainly responsible for allowing these people to control us the way we so willingly do.